Everyone online sees the trading highlight reel, right? They see all the winning trades, they see all the profit, they see the lifestyle, they see the tip of the iceberg, which is typical with success in general, whatever field you're in, right? People only see the top. They don't see all the struggle. They don't see everything that you've gone through in order to get there. In this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about the things that you don't see on the highlight reel and things that you must be okay with if you are interested in pursuing trading full time and making that your number one priority. There are three main points I'm going to talk to you in this video about, and I think by the last point, you're going to either understand where I'm coming from and you're either a full-time trader like myself, or you're someone who's looking to pursue this. You're going to have a better understanding of what this is all about and what you should expect as a trader, right? Because like I said earlier in the introduction, it's so easy to only see the highlight and think, I want to be like this, right? It's so easy to see flashy money on Instagram and then think, I want to be a trader, without understanding everything that goes into being a trader, right? So in this video, I'm going to strip down three main points that I think are going to apply to your life, apply to your trading. And like I said, if you've experienced this already, then that's amazing. And if you haven't yet, these are some things that you will be introduced to for sure on your journey. So let's jump into point number one. All right, guys. So point number one is you have to be okay with being lonely. Trading is a very, very lonely journey. It's a lonely lifestyle. You have to be okay with being alone. You have to be okay with yourself, essentially, because this is something that I didn't realize. This is something that I didn't think about on my journey when I first started trading, right? Up until I went full time, I didn't realize what it would be like when you are a full-time trader. It's very, very lonely because you're here alone, same day, every day, pretty much, waking up in the morning and doing your thing. And I mean, unless you live at home with family and stuff, there's going to be no one there with you during your day, right? I live with my girlfriend, Julia. She's off at work during the day. I'm here working, but you have to be okay with being alone because at the beginning, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, right? I was a little bit anxious because you have so much time to be alone that there's a lot of people who aren't okay with being alone. There's a lot of people that constantly have to be distracted, and I was that person before. Trading has helped me be okay with being alone, right? Because it's a lonely journey. When you're trading, it's just you in the markets, right? And yeah, you can have communities and all that stuff that help with the process, that help you be not as lonely. But at the end of the day, when you're pressing execute, when you're setting your pending, when you're sitting there with your trading plan, it's just you. And that's what I love about it, because when you mess up, you messed up. There's accountability for every single action. The other thing you have to be okay with in terms of being lonely is no one else is going to understand. No one else is going to understand about your winning days. No one else is going to understand your losing days and talk about it in a positive or negative light like other traders. The only people who are going to understand are other traders. And that's when the communities and stuff are beneficial, in my opinion, because the only people who are going to understand, oh man, I lost $2,000 today, are traders, because it's going to be like, oh, you lost 1% of your account, right? Oh, you lost 10% of your account, whatever it is. Other people would hear that and be like, oh my God, you should stop, right? Because they just don't know. And it's lonely in that aspect because you have to be okay with not sharing everything. You have to be okay with not sharing everything with other people who aren't in the same field as you, because they just don't understand, and that's okay. You fall into a trap and you fall into a little negative spiral when you try to bring both worlds together, right? When you try to tell your family, how was your trading day? Oh, I lost this, right? It only concerns them. Whereas, like I said, if you have that same conversation with your buddy who's a trader, you just talk about your wins, you talk about your loss, and you move on with the day. You're talking about how to get better, right? There's no attachment to the financial value. There's no attachment to the numbers. It's just another trading day, right? And you have to be okay with being alone in that sense. You have to be okay with being alone during the day. And that's just number one point, okay? So it is very, very lonely, right? It's a very, very lonely craft. You have to be okay with being alone, and you have to be okay with keeping some things to yourself. Let's jump into number two. Point number two, guys, that trading brings is stress. Trading is very, very stressful, right? And that is because you are getting paid based on your performance. You are not clocking into your 9-to-5 job that you had previously, where you could be sick, you could show up and have a good day, you could show up and have a bad day, and regardless, at the end of the week, you're gonna get paid, right? And that whole that's a real mental battle. And I find that is the biggest issue when you go full time, is going from that paycheck every single week, every other week, whatever it is, to you have to survive now. You have to come up with the money yourself based on your performance in the market. You get paid based on your performance, right? It's like your 100% commission job, a salesman, whatever it may be. There is stress there, but the reward is so high because there's no cap, right? And that's the trade-off, right? You go from money every single week, every other week with a cap, a salary cap, to you can make unlimited money, but it's all up to you. And that's what I love about it, because I feel like the accountability has to be there, and that's something I enjoy. I feel like the growth comes with being accountable of your actions on winning days, losing days, whatever it may be. It's up to you, right? It's up to you, but you have to be okay with losing days, losing weeks, even losing months, following your plan 100%. You have to be okay with that, right? And I've talked about this in a video before. You can put in 100% effort and still have negative results financially on your trading journey. You have to be okay with that. You have to absolutely separate that old way of thinking, that we learned in school all the way up until you leave your job, that you are going to get paid regardless, right? And this is what I love about it. It holds you accountable, and it makes you get to levels, makes you grow into a person that you normally wouldn't have, because you have to, right? You absolutely have to. And if you aren't growing, there's a quote, if you're not growing, you're dying. I 100% stand by that, because if you are not growing, we are slowly dying every single day, right? So if you're not growing, you're dying. And I find that with the markets, if you're not growing and you're not adapting, you are going to get left behind and you're going to lose. So it can be very, very stressful, but at the same time, it's very, very rewarding. And you have to, there's pros and cons to everything, right? And people only see the pros. They only see the money that people make, but they don't understand the losses that they've had to make, right? Like, people only see, oh, you're having way bigger wins now, but what comes with bigger wins? Bigger losses, right? People only think about the right and not the left. Meanwhile, you have to have both for that success equation, right? You have to have the losses to have the wins, losses, it's all a part of it, right? And a sport analogy that I always use, guys, is it's like sports, right? You can win the game and still have goals against. So yeah, that's point number 2. You have to be okay with being stressed. You have to be okay with getting paid on your performance, and that isn't for everybody, right? It isn't for everybody, but I'm here to tell you that when I first made the adjustment, it was very, very uncomfortable, but then you learn, it just becomes your new normal. So if you are a little bit worried about taking that leap, if you are worried about, pursuing this, just know that it does get better. You do get used to it. And it's just like anything outside of your comfort zone. You start to adapt, you start to grow, you start to become better, and it just becomes your new normal. So let's jump on to point number 3. All right, so point number 3, this is one that I don't see a lot of people talking about. Trading is extremely boring. It is very, very boring. And I think if you are still getting a thrill out of trading, your emotions are still involved, right? If you're still getting a thrill when you win, that means when you lose, you're more than likely going to be sad, depressed, upset, right? It has to be boring. And as traders, we're essentially getting paid to wait, right? I say this all the time. Patience pays, right? It pays because you're getting paid to wait for your opportunity to come, to take your highest probable setup so that it has the highest probability of working out, right? It's having an edge over the market, waiting for that setup. If you're just trading without knowing what you're doing, you don't have an edge, you're gambling, and you're gonna get wiped. And yeah, you may have luck sometimes, but over a series of trades, you are going to lose. You're going to be in a net negative. That's just how it's going to go. Like I was saying about being patient, patience pays. When you're impatient in the market, you lose money, and you can lose thousands right away. You can lose all your money right away if you don't know how to risk properly, right? If you're not risking appropriate based on the account size, 1%, whatever it may be, whatever your tolerance is, soon as you are impatient, you pay the price, right? And that's why I always say patience pays. If you're someone who struggles with patience, put that little sticky note on your monitor. Patience pays. I promise it goes a long way. That's a tattoo that I will be getting on my wrist one day, guys. I absolutely love that. But you have to be okay with showing up each and every day, not with the expectation that I'm going to trade every day. You have to be okay with showing up and not making any money. You have to be okay with showing up and just watching the charts, because there's going to be many days where the market doesn't give you what you want according to your plan and you simply don't trade. You have to be okay with that. And that is a skill that you only learn as you develop as a trader. I've heard someone say before, I can't remember off the top of my head, learning when not to trade is a skill on its own. It's something that you only develop with time, right? And that's why trading is time. You have to be here a while, right? You have to go through the mud. You have to get beat up and beat up and beat up and learn these lessons. I've talked about before, I can give someone my step-by-step trading plan, and if they don't have the time in, they haven't put the time in, they haven't lost, they haven't gone through the mental battles, it's not going to work for them, right? It's just not going to work. You're not going to have that success with it. And that's why people are always trying to grab the winning strategy, holy grail, instead of just sitting there and putting the work in, going through the boring days, right? Going through the lonely moments, the stress, being bored, right? That's why these three main points of this video are so relatable, in my opinion. If you're sitting here watching this video, drop a like and comment if this is something that you've experienced, whether you're an experienced trader or you're someone on your journey right now. These are three major things that you have to be okay with, that you are going to experience without a doubt. You have to be okay with it. You have to be okay with sitting on your hands and making no money. You have to be okay with showing up every single day and being okay with winning, losing, getting nothing. You have to be okay. You have to be neutral, right? You have to be. So you're probably saying, well, if it's all these three things, what do you think about it? I absolutely love trading. I love it more than anything I have ever pursued in my whole life. Hockey, fitness, anything in my life. I love trading more than anything in terms of a career path, in terms of a goal to pursue. I absolutely love it. Trading has made me a better person. It has made me grow into a person that I never would have become, a person that I always knew was deep down inside me, but I didn't know what it was that was going to bring me to that level. I didn't know what it was that was going to bring that part of me out. And I love it more than anything. So the question is, do you? What do I say at the end of every single video? Let's be 1% better every single day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Take care, everyone. Let's smash this trading week. See you then.